Welcome to Chamber Exchange, a TV show. My name is Tim Murray, President and CEO of the Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce. And Chamber Exchange, a TV show, is brought to you by our sponsor, Bank Hometown. And before we jump into our first segment, just wanted to share with our viewers that this past week, the Chamber launched what we feel is a very important community initiative, which is consistent with our history of 150 years in addressing issues in the community with partners. And there's a concept, a term called news deserts or ghost newspapers. Since 2005, a quarter of all newspapers across the country have ceased to exist, and on average 2 newspapers a week close. We've seen that phenomenon here in central Massachusetts, where the pool of reporters has significantly decreased, and our ability to analyze complex issues, to hold people and organizations accountable, and to tell the community story has really been shrunk significantly. And so in response to that, a movement has begun across the country to create independent, nonprofit, free news organizations. The Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce has launched the Worcester Guardian, and you can go to the worcesterguardian.org, where we're going to work with partners to launch and have launched a community-based newspaper similar to other models across the country, the Texas Tribune, the Vermont Dig, and just down in New Bedford, the New Bedford Light, which is an organization that we think is very similar to model on here. So if you want to learn more, we have the Chamber put together a very detailed white paper about news deserts and ghost newspapers and a phenomenon, how communities have come together to address the issue. We welcome you to go on to the worcesterguardian.org to read that, to learn more, and to subscribe to the news as it's generated. We brought together a consultant, Dave Nordman, former editor of the executive editor of the Telegram, to handle the news and the reporting piece. So we're excited. It's going to be hard work and a good rollout, but plug in and participate. With that, I'm thrilled to have with us on our first segment Jammie Glenn, who is the owner of Bloom by JLouise. And Jammie, thanks for being here. A lot to talk about, part of the Start at Worcester program, but tell us about Bloom by JLouise.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Bloom by JLouise is a self-care and wellness brand based here right in Worcester. And, you know, we pride ourselves on our 3 pillars to heal yourself, thrive in life, and celebrate all your wins.
And so the brand, what got you into the business? Tell us about that.
So eons ago, it feels like eons ago, I went to Rob Roy in Spa Tech and I studied aesthetics. So when I went through a pretty rough patch, I kind of reverted back to that skill set of the aromatherapy and started blending flowers and essential oils, and I just created this line that I was gifting to family and friends. And then I want to say more so towards the pandemic, I decided that, okay, let me start selling this. Mm-hmm. So that's how the brand was birthed. It just got me through a really rough patch, and I just started to grow it more and more.
So you shared a little product before we started taping here, and the studio smells great. So we've got some product up here and some interesting names of the product. Maybe you could just share with our viewers what they're all about.
Sure. So my ultimate favorite is my candle, and it's sunglasses and Advil. I work event production, video production. It's long hours. Yep. So I just was like, I just need something to uplift me so I can get out the door after working 18 hours, having to get back up at 5 in the morning and go back to set. So sunglasses and Advil. And then, you know, when I got probably midway through Start of Worcester, I started to kind of feel like my vision for the business grow. And that's how winning season came about. And it's like a sage. It just gives me a calmness in order for me to just like think and like process and strategize for the business. So I came up with all these different names based off mostly emotion and like what was going on at the time, good vibes, like what I wanted to create, the atmosphere I wanted to create to be more intentional with how I build my business.
And, you know, this is fact-based. I mean, there's a lot of data and research out there that, you know, sound environment, smell, your sensory, your senses kind of do dictate mood and kind of ability to kind of manage stress and work. And so there's a science behind this as well, right?
Oh, yeah. A lot of, so what I did take from my education in aesthetics and just real life adaptation is a lot of the sense. We would spend all these hours and modules of just testing a smell and reading up on what it did for the healing properties in it. And it all just kind of made sense at the same time, like, okay, if I use lavender and chamomile, it's gonna calm my spirit. So it's like I really use that, but it's also about being intentional when you're using the scents. But the oils itself, the flowers itself, they do their job. You just have to make sure you add it into your routine and make a routine out of it.
So the product line, we've got candles here. We've got
room sprays.
Room sprays.
We got a body oil, which I love. It's a daily use. And then, you know, for thriving, I did a self-care journal. And I do like, it kind of helps you create a self-care plan so you can implement the products that you're using and have some affirmation stuff as well.
Got it. And so you use the word plan, you know, you're part of the Startup Worcester program, and part of that is putting together a plan on how to market and promote your business and sell kind of the products that you've developed, and kind of where are we with that?
Oh man, I mean, I was rough before David and team kind of, you know, picked me up and kind of like, well, what do you want to do? Because I do so much that I wanted to just put it all together to make it cohesive. So, you know, we worked with SCORE, put together, you know, the biggest thing I learned from that, you have to know your numbers. And that's why I'm like, no, I just mix a little bit of this and a teaspoon of that. And they went ham on me. So
And just for our viewers, so the Startup Worcester is a chamber program. We work with SCORE, which is retired executives who work with entrepreneurs or people with an idea to, you know, put together a business plan, analyze the numbers, like how much did that teaspoon you put in cost?
Right.
And what are your hours? So you can really start to figure out how to price your products, understand the cost of labor and things, right?
They also hooked me up with my banker. Who knew you need a banker?
Yeah.
But everyone kept saying, yeah, you need financial projections. How do you do that if you don't even know how much product you're using when you're creating? So it was just a basic foundation that helped me to get from where I was about 1.5 years ago to where I am today. And I'm just working on getting my products into stores. So I'm looking to wholesale the product and get it into stores. And honestly, like last year, I didn't even have my recipes written down, even the labels, little things like knowing what to include on your labels, knowing what tables to buy, what not to buy. So I think that, you know, just the guidance, they put us in front of bankers, in front of even like economic development office to know if you want to get into a store, how do you get a building, how do you get a commercial lease?
Right.
Startup Worcester was just like all the different workshops and all the interactions and all the even writing grants and knowing how to put them together. So it's a really beneficial program for the community.
Well, David Sullivan, one of our team members at the Chamber, works with Zach and a good partnership.
With Work Lab too.
Work Lab,
I had an office with Work Lab, so that'll help.
Yeah, the Startup Worcester participants have a space over on Portland Street at the Work Lab, and Berkshire Bank and the Better Business Bureau help sponsor that Startup Worcester program. But that's great. And any viewers out there, if you want to go to the Chamber website to learn, if there's an entrepreneur or somebody, yourself or in your family, that wants to learn how to participate, we're lucky in Worcester between a number of different programs to have support for startups and organizations. So what's the next step? You mentioned trying to get into some stores on the retail side. In the meantime, are you doing pop-ups? Are you online?
So I am definitely online. E-commerce is going. I just did the leadership conference that the Chamber produces, so I did a big pop-up there. I'm doing the Natural Expo in Marlborough coming up in November. And actually, you know, WCAC gave me a grant, so I'm doing an exhibit at JMAC.
Okay.
So I'm, you know, I'm trying to showcase my business around town to get my market, and just, this is my home. I'm a Burnco patriot. I am.
Burnco high.
Yes, Burnco is my, so I'm in Worcester, and I'm just working on just getting the business out there and getting the name out there. Right.
And so you mentioned online, so we've got, you want to share it?
Sure. So my website is bloombyjl.com.
So BLOOMBYJL.com.
Yes.
Abbreviation for Owner Bloom by JLouise. So again, the website bloombyjl.com.
Yes.
And on that website, some of the description of the products, picture, what will
yes, you have pictures. I do workshops as well. So you have everything and links to if you want to get the journal. But yeah, you can even contact me. Any questions you have. Some people ask for custom orders. So all of that is available on the website.
And just to reiterate, I mean, that whole idea of setting the tone of an environment when you're looking to relax or do work or just even create a setting, the oils, the sprays, and the candles can help do that.
Yes.
And a journal on the right settings?
Yeah, you know, it's always so. Sometimes I put out the bubble bath during the holidays, and just like that bubble bath, burning the candle, writing in your journal, like just creating that atmosphere for yourself. Just take a few minutes out your day. It's not always, self-care is not always about going to a spa and getting a massage. Sometimes it's just being at home and being with yourself and just finding that time to like create that energy that you need to go on.
Those calming moments where you can recharge a little bit.
Yes.
Good. Well, Jammie Glenn, owner of Bloom by JLouise, thanks for being with us, and thanks for sharing with what you're doing and your participation in the Startup Worcester program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and we're going to come right back in our next segment. Stay with us.
These days, you've got your hands full in life. That's why we help you bank simply and securely with tools like Face ID and Touch ID. It's why we make it easy to make purchases on the go and get cash back while you're at it. Why we help you quickly deposit checks wherever you are. And it's why we lend a hand with sending and receiving money right from your phone. So even when you're on the move, you can manage your finances. Bank Hometown. Unlock your potential.